Welcome to Psychology Deep Dive, where we explore the hidden corridors of the human mind. Today, we're journeying into a concept that offers a powerful counter-narrative to our understanding of suffering. We're all familiar with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. It's a term that often brings to mind struggle and a life diminished by a single terrible event. But trauma isn't always a single event. For many, it's the result of long-term mental and emotional abuse or adversity, which can lead to what is known as complex PTSD or CPTSD. And for anyone who has experienced these profound struggles, the reality is often painful. But what if that wasn't the only possible outcome? What if the most difficult moments of our lives, whether a single event or a prolonged period of suffering, could unlock a hidden gift, a profound positive change that could reshape our entire existence? This is not simply a hopeful idea. It is a scientifically observed phenomenon that psychologists are just beginning to fully understand. It's a concept that challenges the story of being permanently broken. It's called post-traumatic growth. And understanding it might just change everything you thought you knew about healing and the incredible capacity of the human spirit. Stay with me as we uncover the science of post-traumatic growth and explore practical techniques to begin harnessing this potential in your own life. The idea that profound good can come from suffering is as old as philosophy itself. But in the mid-1990s, two pioneering psychologists, Dr. Richard Tedeschi and Dr. Lawrence Calhoun, gave it a name and a scientific framework: post-traumatic growth, or PTG. They were working with survivors of life-altering accidents, illnesses, and long-time abuse, and they noticed something remarkable. While these individuals were experiencing unimaginable physical and emotional challenges, many also reported unexpected positive changes over time. Tedeschi and Calhoun defined post-traumatic growth as the positive psychological change experienced as a result of the struggle with highly challenging life circumstances. This is the key difference between PTG and resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back to your previous state. Resilient people seem to weather the storm and return to normal. Post-traumatic growth, on the other hand, is about bouncing forward. It happens to people who are fundamentally shaken by the storm. Their core beliefs about the world are shattered, and in the process of putting the pieces back together, they build something new, something stronger. Think of it like this. Imagine an earthquake-proof house. When a tremor hits, it sways, but its foundations hold, and it remains standing. That's resilience. Now, imagine another house. When the earthquake hits, it crumbles, but the owner, in rebuilding, doesn't just recreate the old house. They dig a deeper foundation, use stronger materials, and add new rooms. The new house is not the same. It's different, and in many ways better. It was born from disaster. That is post-traumatic growth. This isn't a rare phenomenon. Research shows that a significant number of trauma survivors, with estimates ranging from 30% to 70%, report experiencing some form of post-traumatic growth. It's been observed in survivors of combat, natural disasters, serious illness, and all manner of traumatic events. The growth isn't automatic, and it doesn't cancel out the very real symptoms of PTSD, which can and often do coexist with growth. But it offers a message of hope that the struggle itself can become the catalyst for a more meaningful and purpose-driven life. The trauma is not the gift. The gift is what you can build in its aftermath. So how does this transformation actually happen? Dr. Tedeschi and Dr. Calhoun's research identified 5 main areas where this profound change takes place. Understanding these domains is like being given a map to this process. Let's walk through each one, and for each, we'll explore a practical technique to begin this journey of self-discovery. The first domain is a renewed, almost radical appreciation for life itself. When you come face to face with mortality or prolonged suffering, your priorities can shift instantly. The things that used to cause stress suddenly seem insignificant. In their place, a deep gratitude for the simple fact of being alive emerges. Survivors often report that a beautiful sunset or a hug from a loved one takes on a new, vibrant meaning. It's a shift from sweating the small stuff to savoring the small stuff. You see life with new eyes because you understand, in a way you couldn't before, that it is precious. To cultivate this, we must feel gratitude in our bodies. Once a day, find a quiet space. Your task is to identify 3 things you are grateful for, focusing on your 5 senses. Don't just say, "I'm grateful for my coffee." Instead, break it down. I am grateful for the warmth of the mug, the rich smell of the beans, the dark sight of the liquid, the complex taste, and the comforting sound of the coffee maker. By anchoring gratitude in physical sensation, you pull the feeling into your present moment experience. It's a practice of noticing. This exercise actively trains your attention to see the world not just as a threatening place, but also as a place of small, profound joys. The second domain of growth is in our relationships. Trauma can be incredibly isolating, yet paradoxically, it can also become a catalyst for deeper connection. Many survivors report that superficial relationships tend to fall away, while bonds with those who showed up with genuine empathy become incredibly strong. Having been to the depths of suffering, you often develop a profound empathy for others. The experience can also demolish the walls you've built. You become more willing to share your true self, which invites others to do the same. This shared vulnerability is where authentic relationships grow. This technique is designed to intentionally cultivate that deeper connection. It should only be done with someone you trust deeply. Free from distractions, each of you intentionally will speak about the part of your story that feels heavy or that you've been struggling with. The listener's only job is to offer their silent, compassionate presence. Not to fix, not to advise. When 10 minutes are up, you switch roles. This exercise provides a safe container to practice vulnerability and trains us to hold space for another's pain, one of the most profound gifts we can give. The third domain is a shift in your perception of yourself. It's the emergence of a sense of personal strength, often encapsulated in the phrase, "If I survived that, I can survive anything." Before the trauma, you may have had a theoretical idea of your strength. After, you have proof. You have faced the worst, and you are still here. This isn't arrogance. It's a quiet, deep-seated confidence that comes from being tested by fire. You no longer see yourself as fragile. You see yourself as a survivor, and that knowledge changes how you walk through the world. To tap into this domain, we are going to create a resilience resume. On a piece of paper, your job is not to list professional accomplishments, but to list every major challenge and hardship you have ever overcome. Start from childhood. A bully, a difficult subject, moving schools. Move through your life, financial struggles, breakups, grief. List every battle, big and small. Next to each item, Write down one specific strength you had to use to get through it. For a bully, perhaps it was courage. For grief, maybe it was endurance. This document becomes a living testament to your strength. The traumatic event is one more entry on a long resume of resilience. It is the written proof of your own power. The fourth domain can feel like a paradox. How can an event that takes so much away end up opening new doors? Trauma acts like a seismic event, shattering the path you thought you were on. While this is initially terrifying, it also forces you to see paths you never would have noticed. For some, this is a change in career. A soldier who witnesses war might dedicate their life to peace activism. For others, it's discovering new passions or a new sense of purpose. The trauma destroys your old map, which gives you the terrifying but ultimately liberating opportunity to draw a new one. To explore this, we'll move away from cataloging the past and instead focus on imagining the future. This technique is designed to reignite your sense of possibility. On a piece of paper, you're going to brainstorm 3 potential new directions for your life. Don't worry about practicality for now. The goal is simply to open your mind. Path 1. Describe a life path that uses a strength you identified in your resilience resume. How could that strength become a central part of your future? Path 2. Describe a path based on a passion or interest you may have neglected. What did you love to do before the world told you who you should be? Path 3. The wild card. Describe a path you have never seriously considered, something completely different. For each path, write a few sentences about what it might look like and feel like. The point isn't to make a decision, it's to prove to yourself that the end of one story is not the end of your story. It's an exercise in creative hope. The final domain is often the most profound, spiritual and existential change. Trauma forces you to confront the biggest questions of life. Why do bad things happen? What is the meaning of it all? Your old belief systems are often shattered. For many, this leads to a crisis of faith. But for others, the struggle to answer these questions leads to a deeper, more personal, spiritual or existential framework. It is a move away from a simple faith to a more mature understanding of life and suffering. It is a fundamental shift in your understanding of the universe and your place within it. This is a deeply personal exploration. Find a quiet time and ask, how has this experience changed my story of the world and my story of myself? Let yourself answer freely and honestly. Explore the questions that have been haunting you. Has your belief in fairness changed? Has your sense of purpose been altered? This isn't about finding a neat answer. The growth comes from wrestling with the questions. This practice is what turns the raw data of a traumatic event into wisdom. It's how you begin to author a new story for yourself. Today, we have journeyed through the science of post-traumatic growth and explored the 5 domains where this transformation can occur: a greater appreciation for life, deeper relationships, personal strength, new possibilities, and spiritual development. Post-traumatic growth is not something you should feel pressured to achieve. There is no timeline for healing. The pain of trauma is real, and it deserves compassion, most importantly, from yourself. In fact, research has powerfully shown that self-compassion is a critical ingredient that allows growth to unfold. It's about meeting your own pain with kindness rather than judgment. The point of understanding PTG is to offer a different kind of hope. It is the hope that your story does not end with the trauma. It is the scientific validation that human beings have an astonishing capacity to not just heal from their worst experiences, but to become more because of them. Your pain is valid, your struggle is real, and your potential for growth is immense. Please consider sharing a reflection in the comments below, not the details of trauma, but perhaps a moment of growth you may have noticed, no matter how small. Let's create a space of shared strength and show each other that bouncing forward is possible. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive. If this episode resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts or donate to the channel. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the depths of your mind.